You know, as a head coach, man, I gotta find a way to help our guys finish these games. That's our fourth loss, I think, where we've had at least like a 9-point lead or something at home. Obviously, this was our biggest one, and man, I haven't obviously watched it yet. It's still fresh, but we've got to find a way, obviously, to slow their run at the end of the game and just manufacture a few more baskets. Obviously, we built a big lead, and got to find ways to finish the game. It's really not much more complex than that. I mean, we're building leads, we're playing good basketball, and then obviously our 2-point percentage has got to go up. We shot it well from 3, which is kind of our calling card. And then, just not shooting it well from 2 is certainly hurting us in those situations probably. Not having Ray, certainly was something that, we didn't necessarily foresee. So, again, I was proud of our fight, once again. I mean, but, at some point we've got to find a way to finish these games now. And, give South Florida a lot of credit, and I certainly, do want to, sort of just reiterate. I've touched on it this week a little bit, but of course, just sort of, send I mean, we've done it, but again, just just to touch on, Coach Abdur-Rahim and what he meant, to this league and this basketball community, and to see their team play with that kind of fight, and they've done it all year, and to see them still fighting and playing the way they're playing. Certainly, I think says a lot about the culture that he instilled, not just as a coach, but as a man, and as a leader. So, again, my condolences to their family again, and just that entire community. Obviously, we're thinking about them at UTSA. And in regards to this game, we're disappointed in the finish, and we'll move forward. We got ECU on the road Sunday. It's going to be a tough game. We got to get ready to go.
Greg.
Coach, you mentioned that this has become a little bit of a trend with some leads slipping away late. Have there been things that you've noticed in those instances recently that have been kind of commonalities, or have they all been very different circumstances?
Well, I got to go watch this one first. Listen, I think at some point, I don't know if we're getting a little bit like maybe, just shy in the last 8 minutes and maybe slowing it down too much or calling too much or sort of getting away from the rhythm that we've played with maybe early on in the game. Certainly defensively, but once again, our second half defense has not been as good throughout the course of the season. So that's something obviously that, when we need to get a big stop or a big rebound, that's something that's eluded us a little bit. I got to go look at maybe some things that we're doing in regards to just getting a couple more buckets at the end, whatever it is to, again, we're a great shooting team. We struggle inside the 3 and just kind of, we don't get, we don't shoot a ton of free throws. And we don't manufacture a ton of layups right now. So that's something as a head coach that I've got to help our team do to kind of stop the bleeding there at the end of the game.
Is there a mental hurdle with the guys just because this has happened a couple times now? How do you approach that part?
Maybe. You got to ask them. I obviously have a ton of belief in these guys, and, that's why we play the way we do. And, I want these dudes to be confident. And, again, I thought we took good shots. It's just, there at the end, you've got to kind of find a way to make one more play, and I got to put them in the right situations, to make those plays, and I didn't do that.
How do you what's your message to them about kind of keeping the right mindset? Is there anything you can say?
Listen, there's not a lot to say right now. We'll be off tomorrow. We'll let this one set in like we've done with the rest of them. And we've kept responding. I give them a lot of credit for that. We've played good basketball. And here's another one, So let's go. We got another tough road test against East Carolina. It's not getting any easier. So, we'll lick our wounds tonight a little bit, but it's time to get back on the horse tomorrow and go to work.
Jerry.
Coach, can you elaborate a little on what was wrong with Ray or Why you missed
Yeah,
that?
shoulder. Just he sort of had a weird week. He's been sick. His shoulder has been messed up from the Wichita game, and sort of flared up on him yesterday a little bit, and he just didn't feel comfortable going.
What about his status for this coming week?
I'm not sure.
Coach, down the stretch of these past couple games, it seems like the offense kind of gears more iso-centric as opposed to moving the ball early. What are some of the adjustments you made kind of down the stretch or wanted to make down the stretch?
Well, sometimes we want it it's sort of, there's advantages to both. I mean, at the end of the game, they did a good job. They were switching a lot, and so there you saw at the end, they did a good job sort of switching it down screen that we had to steal it and get the ball back. So give them credit there. But also, you want, when it's time to go win the game, man, I just, it's winning time, and, you want your guys to have space to go make plays. And, that's, maybe we need to, it's hard, though, because the more you pass there in those situations, you saw the more it sort of gives them an opportunity to run passing lanes, especially when they're switching a lot. So, I don't know. I think there's advantage. I mean, again, at that situation in the game, you want to give your playmakers, space to go make plays, and we did that a couple times, but we didn't do it enough.
Coach, how closely do you keep an eye on the conference standings at this point in the year and trying to make sure you're outside of that bottom two for the opening game in the tournament?
I want to win championships, so if we're not in first, I don't really care I care, of course. at the end of the day, we're certainly I understand how the bracket works, but trying to win a game. We can't. Every game in this league is so tight. Because of that weather, I got to watch the Charlotte Temple game today, and it's obviously we need to find a way to win a few more games and keep ourselves out of that. That's the goal, but you can't worry about what's going on outside of your own locker room. We've got to handle that. We got to handle our side before we ask for any kind of help.
Do you talk about that part with the guys at all, or is it more day to day?
I think we know. I think our guys sort of understand where we are, and we've got to help ourselves first before we can ask for anybody else to help us.
Hey, evening, Coach.
Hey.
Coach, for 33 minutes, you guys were in control of course of the game. Coming into the half-court offense there down the stretch, do you personally, at this point in the season, do you feel you have those one or two upperclassmen that you can rely on to try and get you over that hump? Is it just maybe a failure of execution, or maybe like Greg said, just maybe a lack of confidence?
Yeah, I need to go watch it first before I sort of speak on any of that. Certainly we have guys that have been in these situations and have made those plays here at other places, and the one that sticks out, probably the steal at the end. That's on me. We set something. They're switching, and so sort of leads Smurf into a turnover. That one falls back, on the head coach. And I got to go watch some of these other, kind of possessions that we're having. I felt we had some, and we just, there at the end when we're, kind of in need of a, get to the line or get a good one. We certainly didn't get those looks tonight.
Any other questions? Logan.
Coach, it's now a 5-game losing streak. I know you say like you have to go back and you have to look at the games, but immediately in your head right now, what are some of the things you think need to change?
Yeah, I think touched on it a little bit. Just our continued play once we have a lead and finding ways to maintain that rhythm. We got to get healthy just like everybody else this time of year and find a way to be healthy as we get to Fort Worth here in a couple of weeks. But yeah, no, again, I can't necessarily talk too much about it till I watch it. Immediately after the game, everyone's upset. But there was clearly some good things that we did. We know we need to find the way to replicate, those things as much as possible. That it?
All right,
Thanks.
Coach.
Thanks.